Did you know that all the activities we do on land affect our local creeks and rivers? If a local creek is polluted or flows pure, it is because of how people are living in the watershed. A watershed is an area of land that drains to a common body of water. So when we wash our cars, spread fertilizer, or neglect to pick up after Fido, rainwater washes everything into the creek. This impacts creeks and communities downstream from us. Do unto those downstream as you would have those upstream do unto you. The Plaster Creek watershed is nearly 58 square miles of Kent County. Plaster Creek begins in the farmland of Dutton, flows through southeast Grand Rapids, and empties into the Grand River. As it flows, the creek collects rainwater from farmland, middle and upper income neighborhoods, commercial and industrial properties, before passing through low-income neighborhoods. All of these areas affect the water quality within the creek because of rainwater runoff. In natural areas, rain falls on leaves, is absorbed by thirsty plants, or soaks into the ground. But when rain falls on paved surfaces, it just flows downhill, taking everything in its path, like trash, dirt, pet waste, chemicals, and heat. In urban and suburban areas, this dirty rainwater collects in the street and flows down the storm drain. That water is not treated, but it flows directly to Plaster Creek. This causes the water level of Plaster Creek to rise quickly, like a flash flood. This fast-flowing, polluted water looks like chocolate milk and is harmful to aquatic species. These dirty, flashy flows also have a lot of energy that causes erosion in the creek. This polluted creek water is also a health hazard to human life. The downstream communities near the end of the watershed experience an unhealthy, dangerous creek racing through their neighborhoods. A liability rather than a benefit. We need to slow down the flow of rainwater and help it soak into the ground. This will keep it cleaner and keep trash out of the creek. We are a collaboration of Calvin College, community partners, and residents focusing on education, research, and on-the-ground restoration. Our goal is twofold: to return health and beauty to the Plaster Creek watershed and restore the relationship between watershed residents and their creek. You can be a part of this restoration by working with us to install and maintain a curb-cut rain garden at your home or business. A curb-cut rain garden is a garden that is shaped like a bowl so that it can catch the excess dirty rainwater that flows off the street. To make a curb-cut rain garden, the area between the road and the sidewalk is dug out with an excavator. Then the area is shaped to create banks and a space for the water to flow into. The water flows onto rocks in the garden, which slow it down and catch debris. The banks of the garden are covered with wood mulch to look nice and control weeds. The mulch banks are filled with plants that have deep roots to soak up water. We use plants that are native to Michigan, so they are adapted to local climate conditions, and they provide food and habitat for insects, butterflies, and birds. What starts out small the first year turns into something even more beautiful in later years. After the plants are established, the homeowner is given a map of the garden and assistance for 2 more years to learn how to maintain it. Again, by capturing rainwater before it enters the storm drain, these gardens decrease pollutants in Plaster Creek. By partnering with Plaster Creek Stewards, you could make a positive impact on the water quality of Plaster Creek and add beauty to your neighborhood for free, thanks to a grant by the MDEQ Non-Point Source Program and EPA in partnership with the City of Grand Rapids. The neighborhoods of Oakdale, Garfield Park, and Alger Heights have ideal soil conditions for these gardens. In fact, if one garden is installed for every 8 homes, no excess rainwater would make it to Plaster Creek in those neighborhoods. 1 in 8. While the health of Plaster Creek impacts its community, the inverse is also true. The community impacts the health of the creek. All who live within the watershed can make a positive difference in its quality. So be a home that slows down rainwater and soaks it up to make a positive change for your creek, your downstream neighbor, and your own community.